With the passing of Stan Lee, and Betty White, who is America's token old person now? Say nothing. This is a trap. Morgan Freeman. It seems like Morgan Freeman went from being a wise man to a wise old man when he played God in Bruce Almighty. And that came out 19 years ago. So Morgan Freeman has been America's wise old man for almost 2 decades. Any black man older than 60 is immediately seen as wise and everybody wants their opinion. Earl Johnson. Mike Tyson has 5 years to get his shit together. Edit. I think way too many of you are too young to remember some of the reasons he has such notoriety. Bob Barker. Hess 98 years old. Perfect. Not gonna lie, I thought Bob Barker was dead already. Lol. Bob Barker died yesterday. He was crossing the street and was hit by a brand new car. Christopher Lloyd. He was only 47 in Back to the Future. He's been an old man for most of his life. Well, I think people forget he had to be like 40-something in 1955, so then he had to be made up to be maybe 70-something in 1985. Basically, they choose all of the actors for being believable as their age in 1955, Doc, George, Lorraine, Biff, Principal, etc., and then just aged all of them to be 30 years older in 1985. When I was little, I never could understand how they made all of the adults in 1985 look so much younger in 1955. It never occurred to me that 1955 was their actual look. See, and here I thought that the old makeup looked a little wonky on most characters, especially old Biff. Yeah, it always looks weird around the eyes from where they layer on all the latex to create the wrinkles and it makes their eyes have a sunken appearance. Henry Winkler agreed on Twitter to be America's grandpa, since we lost Grandma Betty. He's already America's cool uncle. Hey, no double dipping, there, Winkler. Dick Van Dyke. The Dick Van Dyke Show aired before the Beatles released their first album. The Beatles are a clock for the space-time continuum and I'm good with that. 1960 to 1970, it's such an easy barometer. Arca led by Reddit watches this thread in bated breath. Willie Nelson. He can't be the spokesperson for America, he just spends all day smoking weed. You know what? I've changed my mind. Dolly Parton. Interesting. In terms of popularity and how the majority of people really like her, it fits. But I still don't think of her as that old. She's 76. Doesn't seem 76, but she's 76. Which, to be fair, means that she isn't old compared to Betty White and Stan Lee, because the motherduckers almost got to triple digits. I mean, I want a token old who is gonna theoretically be around a while longer. If we keep picking the ones in their 90s already, we're gonna keep getting heartbroken. That is, unfortunately, just part of the business. The challenge is that most of the people being listed are living quiet lives out of the public eye. Stan and Betty were pretty active almost right up until their ends. Tony Bennett's still been recording, I think, or at least has up until pretty recently, if he stopped. Has Mel Brooks been writing or executive producing anything? Same with Norman Lear? Carol Burnett just turned 89 today. Oh, it's the anniversary of Lucille Ball's passing. Lucy sent her flowers every year on her birthday, and since she ordered ahead of time, they got to Carol even though she just found out Lucy died. And now we're unexpectedly sad today. Jimmy Carter and James Earl Jones. Jimmy Carter's full name is James Earl Carter. This is important to know. One, just an interesting coincidence that you would list him with another James Earl. Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks fought in World War II defusing landmines in the Battle of the Bulge. Did not know. Very cool. Per his memoir, he wasn't at the Battle of the Bulge, but got there shortly afterwards. Per his memoir History of the World, Part 2. Hitler, on ice. Jews. In. Space ace 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 ace. Hashtag Dolly Parton better not ducking die before I do. Jimmy Carter. October 1, 1924, age 97 years. Hess old enough to be president. Mr. Feeney. Alan Alda. He lives in my neighborhood in Manhattan and is often seen with his wife of 50+ years holding hands and kissing. Still in love. He towers over her too, so it's kind of amusing. They met in the 50s at a dinner party. Someone dropped a cake onto the floor, and they were the only ones who still ate it. Carol Burnett. Bob Newhart. Still, I think, in a way, in a very meaningful way, that I, all of us, have learned from him. I heard him on an interview. Early into his success, an agent recommended he get help with losing that stammer. Newhart replied that the stammer got him a house in Beverly Hills, and he would just keep it. Christopher Walken. James Earl Jones. Who else could be Luke's father? James Earl Jones. I'm choosing Henry Winkler because he's getting more exposure on social media, plus actively working, on Barry, October 30, 1945, 76. Dolly Parton is a living saint. The Murder, She Wrote lady, Angela Lansbury. Ooh, I hate to say this, but Julie Andrews and Carol Burnett. Mel Brooks, 95 years old. Joe Biden. I'll see myself out. I vote for Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Sex therapist, talk show host, author, professor, Holocaust survivor, and former sniper. She's pretty badass. Clint Eastwood. Lily Tomlin. I can't believe no one has said Angela Lansbury yet. Edit, sorry guys, I misread. But seriously, I would like to see her reach 100 whether or not she is British. Larry David. Dick Van Dyke. It's Tolkien, not Token, you giant piece of shit. Mel Brooks. Sam Elliott. Joe Biden. Joe Biden. This thread makes me a little sad. There's a lot of incredible people who are getting on in age. Joe Biden. Sir Patrick Stewart. Morgan Freeman. Biden. William Shatner. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman. It's definitely Sir Patrick Stewart. Biden. Henry Winkler. My apologies if someone has already named him. He is the most sincere celebrity, especially now that Betty White had passed. The Senate. Danny DeVito is the most beloved from what I've seen. Morgan Freeman. Bernie Sanders. Dolly Parton. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman. Alan Alda. Dick Van Dyke and Dolly Parton. J.S. George Takei. William Shatner comes to mind. Jimmy Carter. Morgan Freeman. Joe Biden. William Shatner. Bob Barker. David Attenborough is the world's old person. Donald Trump. Morgan Freeman. Willie Nelson. And Dolly might be a little too young, but she also needs to be protected at all costs. Norman Lear, the dude has had a hell of a life, made all our amazing shows movies. Unfortunately, the president 70% of the Senate. Morgan Freeman, 84 years old. Danny DeVito. Morgan Freeman. Dick Van Dyke. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman. Why has everyone forgotten about Dick Van Dyke?